Till the after chat.
No talking about defecation till the after chat. Hey there, beer tubers! Welcome back to Maxwell Star and Beer Analysis 101. Tonight we got a treat for you. We're going right back to my part of the neck of the woods. We're going right to the Maritimes and checking something out from Halifax, Nova Scotia. We're looking at Garrison's Juicy Double IPA. It's a unfiltered double IPA, East Coast style. Dank, hazy, lushy, tropical. This double IPA delivers waves of mango, tangerine, and pineapple without the bitter hit. At least that's what the can says. Anyway, before we get too deep into this thing, let's introduce the panel. We've actually got somebody from the States that managed to get a hold of a can. Joe is here, Average Joe of the Beer Patrol. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. What the hell are beer tolubers? Can you tell me?
Beer tlubers?
Yeah.
Never heard of a beer tluber before?
No, I don't. Never.
Far?
No,
Never heard of a beer tuber before?
Nope, and it's very lushy.
Yeah.
Okay, guys,
I'll give you that.
Calm the racism down, please.
Yeah. All right. And
all right.
Why
don't you get that can out of the way there, Greg?
Yeah, get the can out of the way, Greg.
No.
Anyway, Joe managed to get a can tonight from somebody who's actually not on here with us.
Yeah, Lee. He sent it to me in a beer mail last week, and then just so happens he can't get any more at his local NSLC, so that's on him. Yeah, he sent me one. I appreciate it.
That's a lesson. Do not send your last can of anything to Joe.
And it's way fresh.
Over.
And it's way fresher than everybody else's can except for Nick's.
Yeah, actually, we'll get into the canning dates here. Maybe before we get into the tasting notes. But next up, of course, we got Drinking in Canada. Guy is here with us. Thank you for coming in, Guy. And how are you tonight?
I am a juicy Frenchman. I am thirsty.
Thirsty and juicy. We'll see if we can fix that for you.
Never had this beer ever.
You never had this?
No.
Nice.
Oh, you're in for a treat. For a big treat. My name
Chris
is, and I'm on the 10th. And I'm looking at this wonderful panel today, and I'm excited to get through this juicy double IPA. This should be pretty good. Yeah, and that's all I got to say about that. So let's get to it.
I would say that you're a man who needs no introduction because you just did it yourself.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Hey, thanks for coming on, Chris. And we've got Greg. Greg, what's that you got sitting in front of you?
It's a juicy IPA. Juicy ass IPA with 5 months.
But not the right juicy IPA.
It's a juicy IPA. Does not count?
No. It has to be Garrison.
Well, I have one of those too. Yeah. No kicking me out for no kicking me out. And
damn it! I had my finger on the button.
Well, it doesn't always work, Nick. Trust me. Well, Nick, and also I'm here. I'm glad to be here on the very, very last Beer Analysis 101 before the Albino Rhino Beer Fest, and when Nick comes to Canada.
It comes to Canada. What the fuck?
Oh, you're coming to Canada. Oh yeah, no, but you're going out.
From that part of Canada.
Coming to a different part of Canada to enjoy the Albino Rhino Beer.
I'm leaving Beer Wasteland and coming up to Ontario.
Yeah, and you're going to be filming all sorts of wacky antics on the 10th. What kind of crazy things will you kids get into?
I have no idea, but I'm excited to find out. And moving right along, once Greg shuts up, we got Ashley Sexton here tonight. How are you tonight, sir?
Doing great. And before you say anything, you're welcome for me being on here today and being professional.
Thank you. Thank you for being professional. It's actually, you guys can unmute your mics if you want. And it's so unprofessional.
Just say unmute your mic and start FAP.
All right, moving right along. Let's get into the brewery history on Garrison. Garrison Brewing opened in Halifax, Nova Scotia in 1997 by Brian Titus. Before 1997, Brian Titus served as a diving officer in the Canadian Navy, based out of Halifax. Brian Titus also was a huge craft beer fan and homebrewer. At the time, Halifax was dominated by the larger macro players, such as regional favorites like Alexander Keith's, the Olin Brewery. When Titus left the military, he returned to Halifax and decided to open a brewery at the Lady Hammond plant in the city's north end. Coincidentally, both Garrison and the nearby Propeller Brewery opened within 2 weeks of each other, with Garrison being slightly younger. Trying to be different than the run-of-the-mill lagers of the area, Garrison began brewing with their Irish Red Ale and released it in August of 1997. In October of 1997, they followed up the Red Ale's success with their Nut Brown, both of which beers are still brewed today. By 2004, craft beer was booming, and Garrison had outgrown its small brewery. The brewery expanded to its current location in the old immigration annex near the famous Pier 21 at the Halifax seaport in 2006. But the brewery, again, ran out of space in 2012, and in 2014, they opened a larger production facility at the former CN Rail repair building along the Halifax seaport. Other beers from Garrison include Tall Ship Amber Ale, their Irish Red Ale, of course, Hoppy Boy IPA, Martello Stout, Raspberry Wheat, the Nut Brown, their classic Imperial IPA, a nice classic pine forward double IPA, and Seaport Blonde. They've also made special releases such as the Old Fog Burner Barley Wine, their Spruce Beer, which is a kind of well, not one of a kind anymore, but when it came out it was, Sugar Moon Maple Porter, Wintervention Chocolate Imperial Stout, which is a better version of Chocolate Manifesto, if you ask me, and their Jalapeno Ale, which is hard to find, but a classic. Anyway, so the story on Juicy Double IPA is that Juicy Double IPA is an 8% ABV, 75 IBU, East Coast style double IPA released last year in 2017. It began life as part of Garrison's test batch series as codename Juicy, but was rolled out as a regular canned beer and is now available in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Ontario. Juicy Double IPA is made using wheat and pale malt, hopped with Citra and Mosaics and Equinox, and makes use of an end-of-boil hopping method to allow more of the hop flavors to come out while minimizing the bitterness. Yeah. So I think test batch, like the codename Juicy, from what I read, still used the Mosaic and the Citra, but used Ella hops instead, so the Ella Equinox. There was some changes between the two, but it's clear that what beer it evolved from. But yeah, I think it was around May of 2017 that this first beer first came out. So that's exciting. Anyway, moving right along, let's go to the comments, and that's Beer Patrol's job tonight.
Fucking hate you.
Uniform,
Craig,
please.
Craig, shut up, Greg. Craig from Kent Beer Review says, "Hi, gentlemen."
Hello, Craig.
Hello, Greg. Chris from On the 10 says, "Hello, viewers." None of them. And then, yeah, well, it's probably every single one of us plus Lee and Craig. And then Lee says, "Juicy panel tonight." Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Yeah.
Juicy.
Well, I think some of the people's answers here for what's your history of this beer is going to be short. So you could also talk about what have you had from Garrison before. Let's start with you, Joe.
Nothing. No. Obviously, I've never had this beer before. This can was sent to me by the aforementioned Lee Russell, so thank you very much, Lee. Garrison, I've had their Sugar Moon Maple beer that I thought was pretty good. They make the Spruce beer too, isn't it? Is that them?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I've had that before, and I also have a bottle of that in my cellar. And I've had other couple offerings that I forget from Lee. They're pretty damn good, especially for a brewer that's a bit older, and a lot of their offerings are old school and whatnot. But I haven't had anything in probably 3 or 4 years until now. This week, so not a substantial history with Garrison, but it's been a pleasant one.
Nice. And moving over to Guy. What's your history with Garrison? What's your history with Juicy IPA? Of course, you just said earlier that you had never had this before, but...
Yeah, never had it before. Do you want the actual list? I have reviewed 10 beers from Garrison.
Sure, why not?
Spruce beer from Lee. That was the perfect beer. Fucking loved it. Thank you, Lee. Garrison Brewing Net Wit. Garrison Brewing Seaport Blonde. Garrison 3 Fields Harvest Ale. Fucking love that beer as well. Garrison Brewing India Pale Ale. Double Jack. I don't remember what that is. The Irish Red. Imperial IPA. Hop Yard Pale Ale. And Martello Stout. Martello?
Cool. Martello Stout, yeah. As in Martello Tower. They've got a lot of, Garrison, military kind of theme stuff. So
you have a tower as well, Dick, right?
Yeah, there's the Carlton Martello Tower is here, but it's actually the one that Martello Stout has on the bottle, or at least used to have on the label, was the one in Point Pleasant Park in Halifax, and I can't remember the name of it right now.
You have another.
That's way off topic.
Oh, you have another. You have another tower as well.
I have another tower as well.
Yes.
We're not talking about that tower on TV on
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along to the anti-tripod. The Chris, what's your history? Have you ever had anything from Garrison before? And you did.
I have
your own opinion.
I did. The first time I ever had this beer was 2 weeks ago on May 1st on My Own Opinion Quickie. It's on my channel. Please sub to it. Ring the bell. If you want. You don't have to. Other than that, my Untapped isn't. I can't remember my password to get back into my Untapped, and I know Joe's been creeping my Untapped, so he could probably tell me if I've had anything from Garrison recently or in the past, but I can't remember. But I know I had this one 2 weeks ago. It was all right. So we'll see what this one's like, and yeah, I look forward to drinking many, many more Garrison beers once I go move in with you, Nick.
Oh, great.
You want to be roomies? Seems like everybody wants to move down to St. John these days. I have no idea why.
What do you got there, Joe?
You have had all one beer from them, which is this beer. So
excellent, good. So I haven't had anything else from Garrison. Perfect.
Well, according to Untapped, you have not. But then again,
more from these guys.
Yeah,
I almost did.
I also want to say one thing. According to my Untapped, I've had the IPA, the Hop Yard Pale, the Imperial IPA, and the one hop East Kent Goldings officially on Untapped. But I've had, like I said, the sugar.
We've already moved past you, Joe. So
no, I just wanted to say.
I'm just kidding.
That, no, I'm just saying whatever. They were all.
Thank you. Let's continue being professional here.
Anyway, so yeah, that's my history. Anyway, okay, let's move on.
Sure. Greg, speaking of professional, I'm relying on you to live it up here and tell me what your history with Garrison is.
Well, my history began about a month ago when I had this before, and now I'm having this again. So that's my history with Garrison. You can hear my dog drinking in the background.
Yes, I can hear your dog drinking. Dear God. Okay, so yeah. Right along to Ash. What's your history with Garrison?
So I don't have much of a history with Garrison. I've had this beer once before back in March. It's probably from the same batch that we're drinking right now. Actually, no. There was one other beer I had with them. It was part of the Across the Nation collaboration pack that came out of last year. It was the new Scottish ale that they did with Central City.
Oh yeah, I think I had that.
So. But other than that, that's all I've had from Garrison before. So
nice.
Yep, we'll see. Well, I'm sort of intrigued to see how this is now compared to what it was like 2 months ago when I had it for the first time. So we'll see.
Has it mellowed out? Is the aging done anything for the hops? Probably
to be determined.
To be determined. All right, so I can't find the picture right now, but anyway, my history with Garrison, being a Maritimer, goes quite a bit deeper. I think I've visited the brewery in Halifax about 3 or 4 times, dating all the way back. I think the first time I ever went there was in 2012, and of course, first Garrison. I think the first Garrison I might have had. I'm hard pressed to remember. I know that I had their original Imperial IPA as far back as 2011, and I'm pretty sure that when I first got into craft beer that I tried like their Nut Brown. The Nut Brown was one of my early favorites, but as to date, I just did a quick search on my channel to look see how many videos that I've done from Garrison products, and it goes well over 1 page. I think there's probably close to 50 reviews that I've done on my channel that have to do with Garrison products. Just me and Garrison go way back. And the first time I ever had Juicy IPA, the Juicy double IPA, was they had some in stock at the York Street NB Liquor back last July. And I think it was probably from the first batch, so like might have been 2 months old back then. I really don't remember how old it was. And I brought it back from New York Street, and that was before it was released wide scale, like on a wider scale here in New Brunswick. So it was kind of like the first time it was ever here, and I remember liking it. I won't spoil the thoughts on this one right now, but yeah, overall, I've been a fan of Garrison over the years, and I even back in 2014, I actually won a radio jingle blurb thing that they had for the HalCon or something, the Halifax sci-fi convention they do, sci-fi comic con kind of thing. And they were looking for a tagline for their Klingon Roggen beer. I forget what the name it was. It was like a rye beer and rye dunkel. And they were looking for a tagline. So I posted on their Facebook post about it saying, "Today is a good day to rye." It was, tacky as hell, but they loved it. And I ended up winning 2 tickets to HalCon that year, and there were warp speed passes. So me and Sith went down there, and we spent the weekend there at checking out all the cosplay girls and going. I even got to. I didn't meet him personally, but I got to watch a talk with Hodor from Game of Thrones, and what's his name from Supernatural, and was in Battlestar Galactica too. I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, moving right along.
I hope you held the door for him.
Right. What do we have for comments? I see that people are calling this a shit show already, which I'm not entirely surprised.
Yeah. We have Greg asking where my uniform is. Then Chris says, "What a shot show." He corrects it to shit show. Lee says Greg's dog drinking is like crickets chirping. Same effect. Andrew Watts says, "What is next week's beer? This is nowhere to be found by me. Please say an ice beer, please."
We'll talk about the ice beers.
Yeah, and then Greg told him that next week Nick is in Canada because this week he's not. And then Greg said Nick is traveling from Canada to Canada.
Which is true.
It's true.
I did not say that. Kent Beer Review said that.
Sorry, I said Craig, but if it's Greg, I don't know. There's a lot of comments. None of them matter. So, yeah, that's all we got.
Nice. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Joe, you can keep talking and let us know what exactly you think of this beer.
Well, I will say this. This beer is like 10 weeks old. Not really to the fault of Lee, probably to the fault of his NSLC. I'm curious to see what the rest of these guys say, specifically the ones in Ontario having beers from January. This beer reminds me of so many double IPAs that I drank before that were 6 to 8 year old. I get this orange marmalade character because the malt is super forward, bready, almost honey-like malt character. Lots of tangerine and orange, hence the orange marmalade on top of toasted bread, or even untoasted bread. This is not juicy. It's something that if they're going for the East Coast style, they didn't specify New England, so I'm just going to. The East Coast style basically means low bitterness. Yes, they hit the nail on the head with that. But the rest of it, I'm really not digging all that much. It's a big miss for me. I'm not really feeling it at all. So we're doing ratings now. I would say personal enjoyment, best I could give it is like a 6.5. Stylistically, the bitterness is there. Everything else misses the mark for me. I'm going to say like a 4. I mean, I would like to try this like a month old or like a couple weeks old, something where it's fresh. I feel like, with the dry hopping and whatnot, it's fallen off. And I don't even know what you guys are drinking at the 5-month mark, but be curious to see, because for me, this is just not.
Sorry, Joe, how fresh is yours again?
March 5th, so it's only like 10 weeks.
Okay, so it's not too bad.
But still, at a double IPA, the problem with double IPAs, at least that I find, is once you hit like over 2 months, the malt character comes to the forefront and kind of dominates, and that's what I'm getting with this. I still get the hints of the hops, but the malt's dominating, and it doesn't really make it juicy. It just makes it overly sweet. So, yeah, 6.5 for my personal opinion, 4 for the style.
What do you mean? Greg, stop it.
No, I knew to myself because I'm done. I thought you were done.
I didn't know you finished it off. You could say, whatever.
Yes.
Let's move right along. He's checking his phone.
I think you owe me an apology, Nick.
No, I don't.
Untapped it.
You untapped it?
But I do want to thank Lee for sending. I do appreciate it.
Great. Anyway, moving right along, let's go to Guy. Let's see what you think of this beer.
So I wrote that it's sweet, grassy, pine, light grape fruit, and citrus back juices, minimal bitterness, and medium mouthfeel. It kind of reminds me of the aftertaste from St. Abua's IPA, those or double IPA. So I really liked it. So I give it the 8 10. In style, I'll go the same 8 10. I really like it. I like it a lot.
You like it a lot. Which one? You had yours is like from January, isn't it?
Currently, you guys, I don't know because it's A0218. So whatever that means.
Yeah, that's January 2nd.
When did yeah, I mean that's what it sounds like. When did yours come in Ontario in general? When did it show up in shelves?
They've been here for a while because most stores are sold out of it. It's tricky to get right now. So
I only have four left.
Go out of your way.
Anyway, moving right along, Chris.
My can as well is a January 2nd, 2018. I kind of wish I looked at the can 2 weeks ago when I did my own opinion on this one. This one is, and I'm going to agree. I'm probably going to say the same thing as Joe was saying. It's very malt forward. It's super sweet, but that doesn't bother me. I mean, I like the sweeter beers. Whether this is, I'm curious to see what this would actually taste like, super fresh, because if the malt forwardness and the sweetness isn't there, I may not enjoy it as much as I enjoy this one. I mean, it's not like it's gonna like knock my socks off and blow me out the water and stuff like that. It's okay. It's refreshing at least. There's lots of orange on this one as well. It's super easy to drink. Other than that, for stylistically wise, I guess, it doesn't say it's a New England style IPA. Joe was right. It just says the East Coast style. So yeah, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. It's okay. For what it is stylistically, I'm gonna have to bring it probably about a 6. I wish it was a little bit more fresh so I can actually understand what they were actually trying to do with this beer. And I guess for overall enjoyment, I don't mind the sweetness. I can drink this. I got another can in the fridge behind me, so I'll probably end up having the other one as well. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10 for my own personal enjoyment.
I do want to say one thing based on what you guys asked. According to LCBO.ca, it was released on March 28th of 2018 at the LCBO, so we're talking about 6 weeks ago. So even if that was the case and you guys still got cans from January, that's still like 2.5 months, which is crazy to be fresh, but that is the LCBO.
Good work, LCBO.
They are liars. I tapped this on March 1st.
Okay, then after them.
Filthy, communist liars.
There you go. Well, LCBO, don't ever go there because they're terrible.
That's why we're going over the border, Nick.
Unless you want something that's
you can't get juicy IPA there.
Doesn't matter. We'll get other juicy IPAs over there. Don't worry.
You will get so many better beers.
Broke before I come home. Moving along, Greg. I know we are all waiting for your opinion.
Oh, I bet you can't wait for this. Well, honestly, the scary thing is I agree with Joe quite a bit, is that it really is very malt forward at this point. To me, it doesn't really taste like an East Coast IPA, at least the way I interpreted it. To me, it kind of tastes like sort of a more West Coast American-ish style IPA, whatever that means. But that's what I get from it. Like, to me, it does sort of give me a bit of a pine taste to it. But there's definitely some fruit. I don't know, pineapple, I guess, maybe some citrus. I don't know, maybe it's the can just making me think that. I will say it's really smooth. Like I had to check this that it was 8% because I would peg this as like a 6% something thing. Yeah. Otherwise, tastes basically like most double IPAs when you store them for too long. It kind of is very malty. It's kind of, but it's not bad. I mean, I don't know. Like for style, it's hard to judge. I'm sort of. I feel bad reviewing this because I don't feel this should be reviewed. But on the other hand, the LCBO had no issue taking $4.55 from me yesterday. So therefore, fuck you, Garrison. Fuck you, LCBO. I'm going to review this. And style-wise, it's a 4 out of 10 because not nearly what I think it should be. For personal enjoyment, I'm going to go a little higher because I'm actually enjoying this. I'm going to be generous and give it a 7. I'm still enjoying this. It is really smooth. I wouldn't really complain about drinking this. I would complain about the price. I'm not taking that into my account. If I took price into account, it would probably be like a 4 out of 10 for style too, for personal enjoyment too, but I'm not. So it's 7 on that. But yeah, I think this probably, if you got it like a month old, would be really good.
No, I kind of agree, but I don't want to spoil my thoughts. Ash, what do you think?
All right. So first, what I got to say, I think they did a really funny but awesome job of using every square inch of this can to spout some propaganda as to what's in the can. You know, it's like drink from the can, heavily dry hopped, East Coast style. You got like even on the side, it's written all juicy, no added juice. So it's like they're really sort of playing to the people's thoughts. This is exactly what you're going to taste. And you know what, to that point, when they do put those tasting notes on the can, your mind does sort of play to that. On the nose, just like everyone else is getting huge tangerine notes. I am getting some pineapple too. Sort of comes across a little synthetic, but I mean, obviously I know it's coming from the hops. But then there's just that drowning sweetness from malts. It's just a lot of crystal malt sweetness coming through on it. It's very smooth. They did a pretty damn good job of hiding the 8%, because I could probably slam back 2 of these no problem and wouldn't even think twice about the ABV on it. But on the sip, getting a touch of that tangerine again, but some more artificial tasting pineapple, and then the malt sweetness just sort of takes over. You know, when I sampled this back in March 1st, that would have been about 10 weeks old, about the same age as Joe's can. And on Untapped, I basically called it a malt bomb. You know, the can hasn't done it too much justice. I mean, I think this time around I'm pulling out more of the fruit aromas, but you know, I almost enjoy it. It's not terrible, but on tap, fresh from the brewery, I'm sure it's a lot better. So to the style rating, I'm going to give this a 5. And when I did this, my old review, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 on Untapped. I'm going to notch that down to 6.25 just because it's been another few months. And well, yeah. So that's it.
Nice.
Cheers.
Ash, you said 6.5 for overall, right?
6.25.
6.25.
Now way to be different in using quarters.
Are we allowed to use quarters?
It really doesn't matter.
I guess we are.
Oh my god. Okay.
All right. Yeah, I totally hear you, and I kind of do wish that I had this cut a bit fresher, even though 2 months old compared to what I'm used to with Garrison. 2 months old isn't bad, but yeah, when it comes to like something like this, you kind of want to drink it as fresh as possible. It's really kind of pushing its age, but and I've got the freshest can here probably, but I am getting like a somewhat juicy mango, pineapple, grapefruit taste. It's a little bit earthy in the back, and it's definitely fading into the biscuity marmalade taste like Joe was talking about. Fuck you, Joe. It's starting to get a little bit resiny in the back, and I'm not a big fan of that. And it's also even starting to taste a little bit sweaty, where it's getting that kind of like old hop kind of taste. It is very smooth, and they're right, it's not too bitter. But my main gripes is, take a look at that. Does that look hazy to you? I can fucking see through it. That's what I don't really like. When something is advertising itself as juicy, it really harkens back to memories of being like a New England style IPA. It's missing the mark completely if that's what they're trying to be. But as an East Coast IPA, it's okay. If I recall, East Coast, like going back to what Greg was talking about, I think East Coast tends to be a bit maltier of a body to it, a fuller, maltier body, whereas West Coast skews towards cleaner, like Plant Honey and Sierra Nevada goes, and not just about the piney versus the tropical fruits or grapefruits, because that really depends on the hop varietals that they used, and they can use a cascade on either coast. But when I see something that calls itself Juicy Double IPA, I get a feeling like they're calling it like a New England style today, and if that's the case, there's no haze in it. It's just, it should be a fruit smoothie, and it's not. Overall, my thoughts on it is I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10 for style. I think it's still a very decent IPA, but if they're trying to be a New England style IPA, they've kind of missed it. But overall, I do enjoy drinking it. I'm going to finish this, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I would definitely drink it again, but I'd probably reach for like a Trailway first, because Trailway kicks its ass if it's coming from the Maritimes or Two Crows.
IPA peasants.
IPA pissants.
Peasants. I feel like an IPA wizard in a room full of
IPA wizard. All right. So, we have any more comments?
We do. We have. Let's see here. Raining on Your Parade says, sounds like I did not miss too much tonight. Trying my first bottle of Lagunitas Maximus IPA. Been hearing that this is an IPA that started the double IPA craze. Even though they call it an IPA, it is 8.2% alcohol by volume. And then Guy responds with, you missed all of it, not wearing pants. Lee then says, he's actually on topic. He says, out of all the juicy / hazy / New England style IPA variations that pop up in Nova Scotia, this is probably the least like what the style is supposed to be. It's really just a flavorful double IPA. Well, I'm going to go back to what Nick just said. And here's the thing, Nick. When it says juicy and unfiltered, it doesn't mean New England style. It just means they didn't filter the
educate me.
No, what I'm saying that you have to take in context of they're not calling this a New England style IPA. They're saying it's an unfiltered, juicy double IPA. And when they say it's an East Coast style, all they're saying is that it has less bitterness. So for what they're going for, they want lower bitterness. I think we would all agree that, yes, this has lower bitterness. Outside of that, and maybe them hiding the ABV quite well, like the rest of it is not, I don't think, what they're going for. But take it, with a grain of salt, because all of our cans are nowhere near fresh. So while we did do a beer analysis on this, we're doing it on a double IPA that the freshest can is like 9.5 weeks old. So you got to take into context of that. That is crazy.
Part of that's to defend.
And it's not even Garrison's fault. It's probably the LCBO's fault and the NSLC and stuff. I'd imagine Garrison didn't send them this beer 2 months old. They probably sent them to a relatively fresh, and LCBO kept it in their central warehouse and then got it out to LCBOs over the course of weeks, if not a month or more. And then it shows up and it's already 2 months old.
It might have been better for us to do this like 2 months ago or something when we could get this a little fresher.
We couldn't even see it. We didn't even see it. And to defend Nick on this one, it does on the can say it is hazy. So
does it say hazy?
It does say hazy.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: it's not crystal clear. It has some haziness to it, but nowadays when you think haze, you think the shit looks like grapefruit juice or pineapple juice. Exactly. It's murky. It's turbid. Yeah, it's fruit smoothie. It's not
like fruit ground up in a fucking blender kind of.
Yeah, this is unfiltered. If you were to, I mean, mine's gone up. If you put your hand, you really can't see it.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of sediment there, but it's not like haze to it.
No, it's not. And the simple fact of the matter is that they're going for East Coast style, and you start talking about different styles and stuff. I mean, no one can actually sit here and define what the East Coast style is. A lot of people just think it's New England style, but it's different. But whatever, they missed the mark. But anyway, we're finished up with the comments here. Lee then. It says pretty much what we just said was that too bad they obviously sent a bunch of near out-of-date cans to Ontario. And like I said, I don't think it's Garrison as much as the LCBO specifically for Ontario, because everyone here knows they have a tendency to sit on a lot of stuff and release it whenever they want to. I mean, I remember when Stone Brewing sent a lot of their beers. They were 4 or 5 months old by the time people started drinking them in Ontario. That's ridiculous to drink a go-to session IPA that's 4.5 months old, fresh.
Well, I mean, New Brunswick will do that too, where they've actually gotten shipments of like IPAs from Ontario or something. Like I can't remember the last one; it's not coming to me right now. But they'll put them out on the shelf, and of course they're not as nearly as fantastic if you were to drink them fresh up there. But they'll sit on a batch. Oh, it wasn't an IPA. It was was it a chocolate beer or something from Inocente, and it was back when Devin still worked with them. Mm-hmm. And he sent me a message saying, dude, be on the lookout for this thing. And I'm like, okay, great. That's awesome. I didn't show up here for like 2 or 3 months. And by the time it was just a boring another beer.
Yep.
And sitting on it like that, I don't know why they do it. They keep it in their warehouse before distributing for a while.
And I'm interested to see, because you mentioned today earlier in our chat, Nick, that Life in the Clouds from Collective Art showed up here. But I'm interested to see what the date is on that one whenever you go pick it up, if you end up seeing it. Like,
I'll probably be finding myself in a liquor store tomorrow looking at stuff. But if I see it, I'll let you know. It only just showed up on the NB Liquor price list. It's not listed on their site to buy. So it's coming. It should be here soon.
Well, that is their new year-round hazy IPA too. So if it's coming, I'd imagine you'll probably see it quite often. So
yeah, but I'm just lamenting. I've been keeping an eye on their price list ever since project number 5 came out, and hoping maybe one day it'll show up here. But I'm really starting to doubt it now.
Yeah, you'll get it.
Well, hazy for days or whatever. Life in the Clouds. That I'll be happy to see that here.
All right, finish up the comments right here. He says, why wasn't Lee on the analysis tonight? Well, I already mentioned that, but he after he sent me this can, he could not find any more at his local NSLC, so he sent me the only can that he actually had on hand and couldn't get it himself. So that's what happened. Then Andrew's like, right, that's right, Lee, get involved. Could not. Lee speaks up for himself, says couldn't get a can. Was sold out. This is only a limited specialty. And then Rating Art Parade says, oh. He said he did want to, but went to the beer store and discovered I was too late. Jamie, Basement Beer, good buddy of ours. I don't know if he's going to show. I don't think he's going to. He said, I had it and didn't mind it. However, I could care less. I think he means he couldn't care less. If it's hazy or not. So it didn't make it lose any points. I thought it smelled amazing and tasted okay. And then Guy responded with, no, you taste okay. He says he gave it a 3.75 on a tap. The first time had it a second time, it was a 3.5 out of 5 as it was older. And then Guy says, how dare you? It's at least a 4. And then Jamie says he gives Guy a 4.75 out of 5. Now he's rating beer tubers. That's interesting. And then Guy says only Nick hangs his clothes horizontally. I don't know what's happening. Greg says, Inocente boring regular beer, 9 out of 10. Albino Rhino beer review. Perhaps the best troll of the evening, Greg. And then Jamie says lowest scoring Inocente beer ever, 9.75 out of 10. Indeed. Inocente makes the best beer, even though they don't. It's fantastic.
Indeed, my friend.
And that's all we have for comments.
Right on.
That's it for comments?
Oh, that's it for comments.
Come ants. They're horrible creatures.
Ants.
Come ants.
I don't want to see any comments.
Shit pants.
Guess what?
All right. Guess what? Chicken butt.
Oh,
I got scores. I got final scores.
You got scores. You're gonna score with it, baby.
Okay. Final scores.
Okay. What's the scores?
Well, this is what we did today. We did the final scores for the Juicy Double IPA from Garrison, and it was old. But here's our final scores, guys. We're looking at, for style, we gave it a 5.50 out of 10. And for overall enjoyment, just under the 7 mark at 6.96.
So it's definitely not an MGD.
It's not even close to MGD. You can't touch MGD.
No, you can't. You can't touch MGD on this one.
Shit.
Or Heineken or anything else on this one.
I think, like I said, you have to take this with a grain of salt, though, considering the age of all of our cans. You really do.
Yeah, exactly. And then the very bottom, it says something else there, but I'll let you guys read that one. You can do what it says there. What does it say? It says, Joe has more subs than me. Joe has more subs than me. That's what that says. Anyway.
That seems to be on you, Chris.
Joe will have more subs than all of us at some point.
You have to just settle down, please. Just settle down. Just settle down.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, that's our final. What's the beer next week?
What's the beer next week? Well, beer. Let me go get it.
45.
It's going to be nothing. There is no beer analysis 101 next week. Because I'm in Ontario. I'm flying from Canada to Canada, remember?
Yeah, he's going to be in Canada next week. Going to be fun.
He's staying here.
Unless we're home too late, I'd like to do a live stream from Chris's place or something. But if not,
on Wednesday, specifically.
On Wednesday, yeah.
That being said,
I already got plans. We're going over the border.
What day? We'll talk offline. I want to know what you guys, because I think we'll meet up depending
and
on
tune in next week, and you can find out who's the big spoon. Is it Chris or is it Nick?
Oh Jesus!
Well, I'm sleeping on the couch, so that settles that.
There is no beer analysis 101 next week as of right now.
How about the following week? Have we decided to give the? I mean, we talked about Corona, or you guys talked about Corona.
I think we have to go to macro. Do we not?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, next week's macro. Although I would be okay with breaking that chain for one cycle because of if we can get something awesome up in Ontario or the States, that'd be awesome.
You need to do a good job, Nick, of getting beers in Ontario, like going to a couple LCBOs and getting stuff for like the next month. If you want to do like a craft June,
yes,
because all of these guys can get LCBO stuff. If I'm up there and I know what we're getting, I'll go to an LCBO while I'm up there and grab a couple cans of whatever we're doing or bottles. But you probably need to figure it out before you go, so you can just bring 3 or 4 cans or bottles back home.
I'll help them make those decisions.
Yeah, don't listen.
Yeah, I imagine we'll be thinking about that when we get to the States. Like maybe we'll buy a 12-pack of Big Flats and distribute one to everybody. Take it home with them.
Here's the thing: Big Flats is no longer a thing. So,
really?
Sorry, yeah, you go figure. 50 cents per can, a lager selling in a Walgreens pharmacy didn't go over too well with the population.
And one day, Andrew Watts will do a nice beer.
Yeah, we'll have to maybe Labatt
We'll
Ice.
do a nice beer. Labatt Maximum Ice.
Yeah, could we just? Who's gonna vomit on camera? That's what I'd like.
45.
We need to do a malt liquor at some point, whether it's
I would agree with that one.
or maybe you guys get Mickey's. Mickey's is a good time. I don't know who gets Mickey's.
Mickey's.
Yeah, he brought me a Mickey's once. That's a fun review that'll be uploaded at some point.
Well, you guys only get called 45 pretty much, right?
In Ontario, yeah.
For we get Colt 45 here too.
Can't get OE?
OE shit. Everybody, I think OE that you guys get OE right in Ontario.
Yep, I can get that shit.
Yeah,
we do. That
shit.
I can get that shit.
Let's not prejudge it. Actually, let's not prejudge it yet. Wait until analysis when we can give it like -7 in the style.
I'll even drink it out of a brown paper bag.
I mean, that's on you, but
label down. Out, boys.
Yeah, label out. Anyone can't be labeling it in. Unfortunately, we have a lot of comments here.
This is an old photo right here, but I just wanted to bring out at least one picture I took of Garrison Brewing before we go.
Oh, that's a cool place.
That was the first time I was there. Yeah, they got this real cool spot right along the it's along the Halifax waterfront near the Kennard Memorial.
More than their beer.
You know what? To be fair, they've got a lot more exciting beers down there.
I bet you their beer is better when it's fresh. Like I bet you, if you actually get their beer there, it's probably really good.
Like there's a lot of styles that they've made that I've had from them first. Like Baltic Porter, the first Baltic Porter I ever had was from their.
Baltic Porter.
I think maybe even my first Imperial IPA came from them. I know that. But either way, yeah, it's they've been a staple around here for a decade now at least. So, yay.
A couple comments we have last. Who mentioned it? Someone mentioned Mickey's. It was Jamie said 10 out of 10, and Andrew Watts responded with Mickey's. Yes, God.
We should totally get a Mickey's and do it just for Andrew Watts.
Yeah, Jamie also says no door foam. Do not Reggie the label. Correct.
I would love to do an Old English review, Jamie.
Yeah, we can make that happen, Nick. We're going to make that happen. I feel like we should focus in on OE and Colt 45.
Oh, God. Can you guys still get Old English at the LCBO?
Yep.
Or not the LCBO, the beer store.
Yeah, I can get them at the LCBO.
Well, we have to wait in line with the other fucking losers. So.
Oh, that's fucked up. Also,
do they carry it by the pallet like they do Fax 10 here?
This is so wrong.
Yeah. Also, Nick, if you try to bring Mickey's over the border, I might fight you at some point on the weekend. Just point that out.
Joe's not much of a fighter, though.
No, I mean, but I will try, and I will probably.
I was going to say maybe.
I was just saying, if you get yourself like a 12-pack of it, and then bring that across the border,
yeah,
make sure everybody gets one.
Here's the thing: Mickey's doesn't come in 12-packs. They just sell them in 40s and big cans, and the little grenades that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about, the little grenades.
No, those are 8-packs.
Those come in 8-packs. That's good enough. Sure.
Yeah.
You guys can do like in the Transporter movie and wrestle like in oil.
I mean, that seems like a Greg fantasy. What? So yes, we'll do that.
Oh, it is.
Also, Craig from Campere Reviews, he says, I think I can get Old English.
Oh, there it goes.
That's unfortunately on all of us, actually.
Yeah, that's everyone's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should be an absolute shit show next time.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking? We're thinking either a nice beer, a malt liquor, something, and then after that, just a bunch of micro/craft stuff. Maybe the month of June, because you should pick up stuff from Ontario and the States.
I wouldn't mind doing an ice beer. We could always do Schneider Aventina.
Hey, I'm aging my can of Corona.
That's cheating.
I know that's cheating.
We'll let the viewers know once Nick gets down here. We might do a little notification.
Maybe,
the problem is I don't know what I can get for ice beers around here. I'm not even sure if I can get one anymore.
Well, all right, we'll pick up an ice beer while you're here.
Oh my god, it's such a waste of a beer. But yes, you can try.
In Ontario. We'll head over to Theirs and we'll go get some ice beer.
I went to the States and there were 700 different beers. Like, would you get? I got an ice beer and a malt liquor and.
Go to the convenience store and get a natty ice.
How about no?
Hold it.
You gotta get, if you're gonna get an ice beer or malt liquor, you get something that at least everyone else can get, so we can actually analyze it.
Analyze
it. I don't know what to say.
Anyway, this is something we can talk about in the after chat. What kind of ice?
Oh, we're doing. That's right. Okay, all right, we're done. Yeah, that's right.
All right.
If we do the Betmax some ice, maybe we can get my father-in-law in here.
Thanks to Craig from Camp Beer Reviews, Lee, Andrew Watts, Raining on Your Parade, and Jamie for all commenting. Appreciate it.
And I have a final thought. Everyone here has a channel, except for, well, there's a few that don't. Everyone should subscribe to these channels. Well, Greg doesn't have a channel. He does, but he doesn't do anything on it. Ashley doesn't have a channel yet. He will eventually.
Everybody has a channel, but these guys.
But you got, all right. But you got Guy with Drinking in Canada. Everyone should sub to him. You got obviously this channel with that Nick's on next and stuff.
Yeah.
You got the Beer Patrol, who's climbing up in the ranks, soon to be crowned king probably. And then we've got my channel, which is on the 10th, and it's terrible, but
it's terribly awesome.
Oh shit! You
got
everyone here has a channel except for
vlogs going on right now.
A lot of vlogs going on. Right.
All right. One last little comment I see from Andrew Watts. He's talking about Molson Dry, and that's actually something I can get.
Fantastic. I guess Molson Dry it is.
We'll talk about it. Anyway, we'll talk about it on the after chat. We'll sign off for this for now. Thanks for everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for commenting. And we will return with something to be decided in the next couple weeks on was it April or June 1st? I think it is.
Yeah, April will be going backwards.
No, May 30th. We'll be back on May 30th doing Beer Analysis 101. We're off next week.
Maybe April. Maybe we'll travel back in time.
We'll travel back in April.
We're gonna right the wrongs with this.
It's gonna be a Back to the Future episode.
It was like I was reading Canning On Dates in Garrison again.
Marty!
10,000 gigawatts.
Hey guys, my wife is naked. Gotta go.
Oh, geez.